The Struggling Artist Record Club is a vinyl record subscription service where I hunt and curate the best punk and punk-adjacent music out there and mail their record to your door each and every month. Imagine finding your new favorite band from across the country without ever having to leave the house. It doesn't get much better than that. The excitement of discovering new music just got that much easier. As a member of the Struggling Artist Record Club, you are going to receive some of the best music you've ever heard from bands you may never even heard of. Whether you've been collecting records for years or just starting out, the Struggling Artist Record Club is designed specifically for you. And right now, all new members get a Struggling Artist Record Club exclusive along with the monthly selection. So head to StrugglingArtistRecordClub.com, pick a membership, and start building that collection today.
You're listening to the Struggling Artist Podcast.
People need to be entertained. They need the distraction.
With your host, Trev Allen.
I wish to God that somebody would do something to block out the voices in my head for 5 minutes.
All right, welcome back to the show. Today we have a very special guest. It's Massachusetts pop punk band Bad Idea USA. I talk with Courtney and Sean from the band about starting a band as an adult and finding your personhood and so much more. It was a really awesome conversation. And so without further ado, let's just get into it. This is episode 452. Oh my God. Struggling with Bad Idea USA. Well, it's nice to have a morning conversation sort of where I'm like, oh, I'm like kind of fresh. Like I just got back from a run and I'm like, okay, perfect. I got my coffee, ready to talk to Bad Idea USA. So how's it? So thank you guys for talking with me today. It's weird because we've been in the same room a bunch. We've played a bunch of shows together across different bands and things, but we've never really talked about your band. And I feel like you guys are so steady in what you do since sort of like the beginning that sometimes you can take for granted like the genesis of a band and the whole operation, because someone told me once that every band is a miracle, and I definitely think that's true. That the fact that you can even like get in a room with anybody and make anything and then reproduce that is sort of insane. But you guys have been doing this almost like, is it 8 or 9? So how many years of Bad Idea USA are you into? Because I know the first release was 2018, right?
Yeah, so we started in 2017, and yeah, so it's been almost 10 years, which I can't believe that.
Congrats.
It's been a little weird because in the middle of all that was COVID, so there was a while where we weren't doing a whole lot, but then kind of got a renewed sense of like urgency with it once like all the clubs opened back up, and we were able to play live again.
Yeah,
so
you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yeah, for real. And I feel like it's still I'm still kind of in that same headspace where I'm just really thankful for every single time we get to be around our community and play out and be with people. So nice.
Yeah, it's you sort of get a new appreciation that like every time could be the last time you do anything. And I've been sort of feeling that way a lot lately. And one thing I kind of want to know is like, what made you guys start a band? Were you where was the seed planted when you guys were like, oh, let's get together and do something? Because it seems out of the gate. Like I went back and listened to the self-titled EP this morning, and I was like, pretty much out of the gate, like the identity of the band feels like pretty formed, like really early on. So like, what was when you guys were getting together to make a band, like what was the idea? Was there an idea, or were you just like doing?
Well,
and how did it come to be?
We have played together in previous bands. And when we moved to Boston, so we're originally from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, like that area.
Okay.
We moved to Boston in 2009. We like the whole idea was we were gonna start a band. We were gonna like do the whole thing. And so Sean at that time was playing bass, and we tried out a few drummers and nothing really seemed to stick. And also it's just kind of a weird time in our lives. We're in our 20s and like everything was kind of in flux and like lots of different jobs and apartments and
when you're in your mid 20s and you're like, oh man, I'm too old to be in a band, you know? Get my shit together.
Yeah, you're like, wow, I really missed the boat. But so then when you enter your 30s and you kind of realize what you want to be doing and how you want to be spending your time and how important things are, like playing music, then you kind of figure out that you want to do it. So it's interesting because the day that we had our very first band practice was, I think, the same day that I found out I was pregnant with our first child. And so we were like, so this whole thing has been very fly by the seat of our pants. And I'm so glad it seems like we're like stable and doing like being really steady, because it's definitely a lot of there's a lot of like work and like organization and planning that goes into the whole thing. But so we put an ad on Craigslist, and that's how we met our bass player Dylan, and we just like dropped some names of bands that we thought were really cool, and we were open to either a bass player or a drummer, because Sean taught himself to play drums when we were having all these we were just like, well, if we want to play the drums,
I'll do it myself.
Yeah, we better just do it. And then I was like, okay, Sean, yeah, like good luck with that. And then he did it. So that's cool. It's very, very Sean-like. And so we found Dylan, and it was one of those things where, just like you said, like how every band is a miracle, we got into the same room as him, and we were just like, whoa, okay, this is obviously the person. Yes. He's just like so great. And you can just kind of tell if you're gonna get along with somebody's kind of like vibe. And we just like loved him immediately. I mean, we played like 2 songs and we were like, obviously you're the guy. And then like I kind of knew that I was pregnant, but I couldn't say anything right then. But then when we finally told him a few months later, when we could tell people, he was so cool about it. And he was just like, okay, whatever. Like, we'll do this. Like, I want to be in this band too. And like he has a pretty intense job. He's we call him the rock doctor. He's a geologist. So he was like, when we were starting this band, we were like, we're probably not going to be able to do like tours or really, do like a week run here and there where we can be away from our jobs and stuff. So we all kind of knew going into it that we just wanted to have a really good time and wanted to make music that we loved. And we had some songs going. I had like 5 or 6 songs already written that I knew we were going to like start off with. Oh, and you can hear our children in the background. They're with the babysitter out in our. So sorry about that.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, they have the kitchen knives now.
No, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, let's. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Our little one just busted in.
No, don't worry.
It's a family affair.
Yeah, it is a family affair.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like Courtney and I were very much on the same page musically, and getting Dylan in there, just like we had a good thing going, I think, right from the start. You had, like you said, you had the songs there. We had already played together.
Mm-hmm.
So like chemistry wise, it was just like kind of finding the missing piece. And I think Dylan's been great for that.
Yeah.
Yes, and
I can't imagine anybody else.
I
right?
know,
Yeah.
Like,
right?
it's impossible. It's impossible to even conceive of like. But yeah, no, go ahead, because I have.
Yeah. No, it's so much a part of our sound. I mean, Dylan's like super melodic, incredible bass playing is so. I mean, it's our sound. Like there's I feel like if it was anybody else doing it, it would sound completely different and just like not have the same amount of like spicy goodness. But that brings me to our next like kind of little big announcement, which is we've been playing with another guitar player for the past few months, and we are we're gonna have another guitar player in our band, and hopefully the first time we play a show with them,
that's exciting.
Hopefully end of September will hopefully be our first show with them. But that is really weird too, adding another person to an already well established entity. And
well, it's hard, especially.
It's so far.
Well, especially with like a 3-piece band, you know, it's like the chemistry is so like so much more dependent because you have such a bigger percentage on every person. Where it's like if you're in a band with like 6 people and you swap one out, it like doesn't rock the boat as much. It definitely can. Yeah. But it's like the 3-piece. I always thought like growing up, I was in like a 3-piece punk band for like all of my teenage years, and it was like there's something beautiful and elegant about that, like just the simple precision. So I don't know, we don't need to get too into the new guitar world a little bit, but at what point was that like, was it something you were seeking and then eventually found the right person, or was there a person that you were like, hey, you know what, this person might be really cool for our band?
I feel like it was a little.
It's like both of those things. So there's like I couldn't agree more with what you said about like the magic and simplicity of a 3-piece, and especially with like Dylan's bass playing and just like how it works so perfectly. So for so long, we thought it would be cool to have the additional instrumentation, but we're scared to like upset the apple cart a little bit.
Yeah, you don't want to rock the boat.
And we were clearly, getting things done already and having a great time. So it just took a long time also musically to kind of think about writing songs that have space for another person. And so we are working on a new record right now, and I feel like the writing process and the creative process in general has been just like kind of larger, just like much more interesting. I feel like I have a lot more to say, like lyrically, thinking more about just like because this will be our first full length, because we have 2 children and busy lives. We have never done a full length. So we've done EPs only. And I just am so excited to do a full length record. And I feel like the additional instrumentation will add a layer that is hopefully awesome and not overbearing. Yeah. And
it's sort of, you can tell when a band's like excited, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's like been our theme the whole time, is we want to just make sure it stays really, really fun and isn't a drag.
Well, yeah, because especially like I feel like it's an interesting place to start a band when you already feel like you're at the cultural point where it's like most people aren't starting bands.
Yeah.
I think like the refreshing thing is you're like, oh, now I can like from the gate, I understand like my boundaries, what I want from this, like how I want to approach doing it in like a little more organized of a fashion. Do you find yourself being more methodical since you've started like Bad Idea, you say, than like your earlier bands?
My goodness, yes. I feel like I have thought about it in such a different way, and that's why it's been able to survive this long. Like, I don't think there was ever a point in my life where I was like, I'm gonna make it. But there's a point when you're in your early 20s and you know you're caring about what people think about you, and you're trying and you're doing this and you're doing that, and I just got so over that. So starting a band at the age of 34, with a baby on the way, you're just like, okay, what am I trying to say? What am I trying to do? Let's do it. Let's say it. Let's have fun.
Yeah. Doing it for the love of the game.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you play like like a Monday night show, like an 11:30 p.m. slot, then you're still having fun and you're not like, oh, this sucks. No one's here. This is terrible, because you're just doing it for yourself.
All right, because you're not trying to like, you're not everything you do is like a stepping stone supposed to lead you somewhere.
Yes.
And I think like, especially when, and I mean, this is not exclusively like an age thing. Like different people approach being in a band differently, but some people see like everything they do as like, okay, this is the thing that's going to give me access to like the next step of this, and I'll do this instead of just like kind of enjoying it. Like it seems to be like a little more like, and that's not to disparage bands who like have that goal, but there's something beautiful about like, hey, I just enjoy playing music, and like life is hard enough and busy enough that like it's hard enough to find the energy to do the thing you love, let alone making sure it's like working for you, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah, I feel like that's been our
like,
whole creative treatise for this band.
Yeah,
Still
and I feel like
bogged down.
lyrically speaking.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, we're interrupting.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's always stuff. No, there's always stuff that's tough, you know? Like, I feel like in any band situation, even if you're really enjoying yourself, it is tough to be playing like 11:30 p.m. on a Monday when you work at like 8 a.m. No matter what, like that's tough. Even with the love of the game, but like sort of like what I was thinking about, like there's a lyrical consistency sort of throughout the records about sort of a lot of anxiety stuff, but a lot of like self identity and sort of like establishing your like personhood and feeling like comfortable in your personhood in a world that is like chaotic. That seems to be like the biggest through line I kind of see in your music. And I guess, is that something like that has always been like sort of your artistic thought, or was there a point in your life where like the direction of your songwriting changed? Because what I thought was interesting is like from the beginning of Bad Idea USA, there is sort of like a consistent like thematic thing going on. And I'm curious, like, if that was one, if there's like something intentional about that, like with this band, I kind of want to express these kinds of feelings. And if there was like a point in your life where you weren't writing songs like that, or has your songwriting journey sort of been, I don't know, more uneven, if that makes any sense.
Oh, no, it definitely does. I think that, okay, so I'm so happy that you picked up on the fact that is like the theme. That's amazing that you have listened like that intensely that you can know that. I think that's awesome. So thank you. I think a lot of that has to do with starting this band super intentionally at an older quote unquote age, knowing that my life was about to get like super crazy. I'd also like just become a nurse at that point. So there was a lot of stuff just like, I don't know, I felt like I was entering in so many ways like a new phase of my life. I feel like I used to write a lot about like love and like cute little, I mean, there's always been an element of like depression, anxiety, kind of like soul searching to my music, but I feel like there's a lot more. Yeah, it's like, who am I? What am I trying to say? And then as things progress, I feel like this record is a lot more of a critique of like the world and my place in it, and like how kind of being a parent and being alive right now has shaped this worldview. And so this thing that we're making feels very much like a different, like a step in a musical and lyrical direction. And I'm so excited about it.
I think I'll add on. I feel like in our previous band, the Lanterns, I feel like there was a lot more like character work, or like there were like maybe a little like almost fictional vignettes about like just like I feel like the Bad Idea USA is a little bit more personal
Yeah, no,
in its
that's true.
approach as well. And so like I think that's a big change for this project too. But,
Yeah, I did used to talk about like characters a lot and like little stories, and yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no,
Well-
that's interesting because I feel like a lot of people live in like one world or the other a lot of the time. Not exclusively, but there's a lot of like that back and forth. And what I will say is I told you guys this I think the last time I saw you, but you guys are playing like more fired up now than ever before.
Yeah.
Like your approach to the stage and stuff has been like, I think over the past 2 years, more intense.
Yes.
And so it's interesting you say that about the new record because I've sort of like already see that in like the way the band moves. If that makes sense. So like,
yeah.
Have you been feeling that like growing intensity? I mean, it seems like you have. I mean, I see it, but
Oh my god.
like,
yes.
has playing started to give you something different now?
Yes. And I don't really know what happened, why that, but I don't know, maybe everything politically in the world and just like having our second child and all of it. Yeah, I'm super fired up, and I feel like a lot to say, and music is such a lifeline in a way that it hasn't been before, and I also don't care what anyone thinks now. So I'm just like this is me, this is how I perform, this is how I'm going to do it. I really don't care. And like for the first time in my life, that's so freeing as a musician, as somebody who's like, whatever, like the only way you can really find your footing in this crazy world is to truly and authentically be yourself. And I cannot believe it took me so long to realize that, but here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I still feel like
a cathartic nature to it in a certain way, and I feel like, I don't know, for myself, like as a drummer, I feel like I only semi recently over the last couple of years felt like I always felt like I was like, as a bass player, just like cosplaying as a drummer. Yeah, exactly. I feel like
cosplaying.
I'm LARPing my way into becoming a drummer. But I feel like I've become a little bit more confident, and like personally just like saw some like videos of myself and just like being a little like timid, and I feel like feel like just getting more comfortable at the instrument and just like getting the reps in and just like playing the way I want to play.
Yeah. And feeling it more on stage, and allowing yourself to feel it more on stage, and realizing really truly in your bones that it is so much more entertaining for people to watch that than it is to watch somebody just stand up there and do nothing nervously. So it's just so much better for everybody. But I feel like as we have traveled through all of these shows that we've done as this band, I've seen so many amazing other bands that have really been so inspiring with their performances, including your bands. And I feel like the first time we ever played with you, well, of course, with Coffin Salesman, actually that was our tape release. And I remember I was pregnant, and
I think we played at Charlie's, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my, and North Star the Wanderer and Super Down. Yeah, that was a great.
Charlie's.
Yeah, correct. I remember the flyer. The flyer is like a big like movie theater version of like Charlie's Kitchen. I think one of the dudes from Super Down made it. It's like a very dramatic like Charlie's Kitchen, like with a marquee and everything.
Yeah.
I think I have a copy of it somewhere. I'll have to like look at it.
But it was
so one because. Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I felt like your performance that night, in many ways, I was just like, whoa, I need to step it up a little bit. I feel like you inspire me a lot.
Thank you. And I feel like that's also sort of what I like about seeing other bands and being in like a active local scene and going out a lot, is like I'll see bands and I'm like, I don't necessarily want to like do what they're doing or like take their bit, but I'm like, oh man, I'll go home and I'm like, man, I really need to like step up my game over here. Or like I'll listen to like new records or people putting out and I'm like, all right, I gotta really go home and work on my songs. Like I really gotta like work a little harder here. Not in a bad way, but I like not in a competitive way, but sort of that everyone like pushes you a little further. Like, and it's kind of hard because for me, a lot of my life, I felt like I had to be someone else. Like it wasn't sufficient enough, like to just be me. And I'm trying to break away from that and sort of like just be like, oh, this is my path. I'm walking. It doesn't need to look like other people's paths. So hearing you say now that you're finally feeling free for like the first time, like gives me some like real radical hope for myself that I'll like arrive at the point. But I sort of like living life is kind of weird because it's like you're never really arriving. I think that's the weird point. And you have that in some of your songs where you're like, am I still supposed to feel this way being this old? Like sort of I'm not that lyrically precise, but that sort of comes up like a couple times. And I'm like, yeah, I guess like there's never a point where you're like arrived, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're constantly on the journey to become yourself, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and I think in a lot of ways we're all pushing our own boulder up the hill, but I think part of this band lyrically is finding the beauty in that and celebrating like the gorgeousness of every day. And just finding the beauty in humanity. Wow, that sounds kind of cheesy, but I don't know. It's a little bit true. It's a little bit true.
I mean, you arrived at it sincerely. I think like I think some people get to use hope as like a slogan in like a very cheap way, and that and like just when I hear artists like that, it just doesn't really resonate with me. Is sort of what happens. I sort of just feel like they're like taking me for a ride a little bit, even if like the songs are really well produced and they sound really good. And so
you can
like
tell. There's an element of truthfulness.
Yeah. And it's sort of like part of that for me is like trying to let some of that. I'm like, oh, maybe do I have some bitterness I need to let go? You know?
Yeah.
And so I guess
how can you not have bitterness?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. But I mean, now as your music is getting like more aggressive, I guess I'm speculating that it's the new record will be in the Bad Idea Say canon more aggressive. Do you feel like less bitter in your life, or are you just generally not very bitter? Because you don't seem bitter to me, but sure. I mean, this is like, I get, but see, I guess that's what's interesting, right? Is like, it's hard to, we just pass by each other at shows, but like, I'm kind of curious, like, what your feeling is like with working through this band and your life and things, you know?
Yeah. Oh my God, that's amazing. I'm so happy you're asking. No, for real.
Lay it out.
I think that that's exactly like the struggle that I'm trying to capture, which is being two things at once, which is being like happy to be me, hopeful, present, and then there's the other part of it that's just like kind of raging against the world at large and kind of how unfair everything is, and how even with all the privileges that I have, how I sometimes can still be just like, wow, things are tough. And then that makes me wonder how people who have it a lot worse than me, like how they're doing. And so that makes me feel like everybody's not doing well. Like, I feel like everybody's having a mental health crisis and nobody's talking about it. And it's like, we have to just be like, people need to be more honest. And so I feel like in a lot of ways, doing this band has made me realize what I am trying to say. Cause like forever, like I originally went to college as an English major and I like wanted to be a writer and like I was a poet and but for a long time I didn't do anything with it really because I didn't know what I wanted to say. And so now I feel like I do know what I want to say, and through finding that out, I feel like I have found a certain amount of like inner peace or knowing, like radical acceptance just for me being me. Like the whole record Home is about coming to terms with the fact that I'm always going to be anxious and depressed. And like the whole song Old Habits, it's kind of like personifying my depression as something that is not bad, as something that is not good either, but is home and is something that is like going to be there with me. So I'm going to make it work for me if I can.
Or yeah, like life is the work, you know? Life
Yeah.
isn't the resolution of a problem. It is just like constantly like working through. Like it's never
Yes.
like finally reaching the finish line and checking a box and be like, okay, I cured something.
Yes.
And that's tricky because it's sort of like there's a tricky line about not, and I think I see this a lot now, especially with like internet meme culture and stuff, where it's like mental health struggles or mental illness get sort of like fetishized a little bit, and people are like a little too eager to absorb it. And I mean, I've been as guilty of that as like anybody else, and I mean, I love a good depression meme. I'm not immune to it, but it's sort of like at a certain point, like that's not life, you know, like that's not real life. That's just like a weird experience that is like an artificial experience that's sort of seeping its way into your brain and sort of corrupting your inner peace, I think. But like I heard something that I found like pretty powerful that is like the opposite of depression is expression. And like not happiness but expression or creation, and so I feel like Bad Idea Say sort of encapsulates that mantra a little bit, because it's like even through this, like you're making things, you know, it's like you put that into this place, and is it like, I guess one thing that's hard is sort of like balancing like how much you need the band to be an outlet. Like, do you struggle with like, because I mean, I know I struggle with this, where I struggle with like the relationship I have to like my identity as like a person in a band, and like this is how I express myself. Has it made it difficult to find like normal ways to express yourself? Not that songwriting is not normal or good, but like, sorry, I don't know if that's too personal a question, but
No,
I'm curious.
I think that that's an amazing question. I feel like yes. I feel like as I have been traveling through this band and I'm kind of having that emotional outlet, I feel like I am kind of pulling away from, I don't know, I feel like I've had some friendships that like longstanding friendships that have kind of ended, and new, just like whole new ways of like thinking about myself and my life and being confident and being, yeah, I feel like just in a way of like becoming. And I think having this band be something that has been going on while my life has been like what you were just saying about like you never really arrive, or like the struggle is like the beauty and all of that. That was all part of it, where it's just like, and it's still very much that, where we're like, our lives are crazy, but we are very intentionally going to try and do something so that it can feel like we're kind of raging against the machine a little bit, or like carving a little piece of like the world out for ourselves, because otherwise it'll eat you alive. I'm sorry, I feel like I meandered away from your original question.
No. That was great. The avoid getting eaten alive.
Yeah.
But it's like, I wonder, like it's sort of strange because every young person has this inclination that when you reach adulthood, you sort of are required to give up your personhood a little bit, to like just have it. If you want a life that is stable, it requires like some sort of sacrifice of your individuality, your personhood. And maybe that's true, and maybe that's not necessarily all entirely bad. But like, does this band feel like you giving some claim and some voice to like yourself?
Oh,
And like
yes.
being like, I'm here, like I exist. Like that's sort of like what it feels like when I listen to it, where it's like, especially when you're talking about like starting a band at like this time in your life, it's like, okay, well, like I'm still here, like I am all these things, like I am a parent, I am a partner, I am a person in the world, but I am also still the same person I always was. And yeah, that's just such a really like I can imagine that's just intense and gets more intense over time.
It definitely is. And I feel like I'm trying to lean into it a lot and just kind of be like, okay, it's going to be chaotic. So let's just try to kind of make the most of it. But as a result, I feel like sometimes I would love, like, it would be so nice to be able to have like a 4-hour band practice where we just get to be, because everything is so regimented and it's like, okay, we have 2 hours, like, here we go. And you're like, the second the show ends, you got to like be out of there. And sometimes I wonder what it would be like if we could relax a little bit and like enjoy this more of like the social aspects of being in a band. Cause that is a big part of, it too, is like, I just love being at shows. I love talking to people about music and like when you get older, you realize how it is not very common to find like-minded people. So then when you do, you're like, oh my goodness, this is so amazing. Like, I love this. Yeah. And having I feel like this band is almost like a record of me, of being a mom, being a nurse, being a person. But it's so funny because like when I was pregnant, I didn't want anyone to talk to me about it. Like I didn't like in the band or like at shows or anything, or I would be like visibly super pregnant and I would like not say anything about it on stage and stuff like that. Cause I was just like, I don't want this to be the point. But now I see very much that it was the point, like it was the point. It's getting up there and doing it and still being like, yes, I'm a woman. I'm vulnerable. Here I am.
Yeah. And things, I mean, to your point, like, I feel like being in a band is different now than it was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But we're changing with it. I think like your songwriting is changing with it. And like the way we approach things is changing with it too. Mm-hmm. It requires us to be a little bit more organized now than we, might have been flying, more by the seat of our pants before.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of like, okay, we've got 2 hours of practice. What are we doing? We're blocking it out.
I mean,
we just got to be a little bit more prepared for everything.
Yeah, I think that's sort of inevitable. Like that one part is inevitable. Like, if you're gonna keep doing something, like at some point, it's got to get like things have to get like a little bit organized. It's like people aren't always gonna like live in the same place. You're not always gonna live like down the street from your band. And so like you guys moved to Salem in what year?
2020.
Like before COVID, right?
It was
2020. Right. Was it during or right before?
Like right when lockdown started happening. I think it was May we moved up here of 2020.
It was the official move, but we're planning the move like right before it happened.
Yeah. So like the whole world was you were there. The whole world was exploding. It was crazy. In so many ways, I feel like my experience in Salem has been shaped by that because I haven't ever really engaged with Salem as a person. I don't know. I was never like a footloose and fancy free person here who could like go out and like do whatever. And so sometimes I'm like, oh, this restaurant or like this. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I feel like I'm a tourist in my own town. But I mean, that's just being a busy adult, I think.
It's sort of what's interesting is at least like there is a Boston scene and there is this little micro Salem scene that is very active. and has been active, I think, for since I was in like my early 20s. It really started like having a rebirth, I feel like, in the North Shore area. And like there's a lot of band people up that way. And so like, do you feel like tapped into like a different kind of scene living up there, or do you just not have time?
I feel like I want to be so much more tapped into it than I am, and there's so many cool things going on, and we're playing Moon Over Salem coming up in September, which is it's going to be a smaller fest this year.
Yeah. It's basically like a big show.
Yeah, like a big show. But I feel like there's so much going on up here that it's like, where do you even start? Like, there's so many great bands.
Well, I feel like having Moon as a venue,
as a place, has made that happen, and it's you know, they go hand in hand, the bands and having places to play and all that,
yeah.
like, go hand in hand. But yeah, I feel like there's a really cool indie scene up here, and there is a punk and metal scene, and there is, I don't know, I feel like there's little pockets of everything, and it all works. Like, I feel like everyone's still part of the same little big scene, and everyone's so cool about like having mixed bills, and like I love that. Like, I love that so much.
More mixed bills in 2027.
Yes. More mixed bills, please.
And I do think we're going to see my hypothesis is we're going to eventually see the rise of the weeknight 2-band bill.
Oh,
the power 2-band bill.
Oh my goodness.
Just like two bands, like 40-minute sets.
Yeah,
like, I think it's gonna happen. I've already noticed that like when bigger bands go on tour, they only have like one opening artist. You know, like the whole thing where you used to go to shows and like there's like 3 bands, then like a headliner. I haven't seen that in really a long time. But yeah, so you guys have Moon Over Salem coming up in September, which is gonna be awesome. It's happening at Cinema Salem, which is crazy. Are they playing a movie behind you?
I think there will be visuals. I'm not sure how many theaters will be going at the same time, but it's certainly interesting. I went to Cinema Salem to see some bands play before a movie the other night, and it's really cool because the sound is amazing because the acoustics are fantastic, and then everybody has a seat, but then like everybody was standing. I think it's going to be like really weird and really cool, and I'm excited. And people are doing visuals, and then I think the person that like does all the plants, like puts all the plants on stage, hopefully will be involved. Do you know about that person?
Awesome.
Oh my god!
I forget their name. I saw them on Instagram. I forget
you know
what it is, but I was like, "What is this?" Like, it's like a plant. I do know what you're talking about.
I was just like,
I forget the name, but that's amazing. I think it's nice to have more multimedia integrated with the show, you know, so that's really exciting.
Yes.
Do you guys have anything else coming up you want to give a shout out to?
So there's a show at the Midway that we're playing with this band called Soraya, or she's an artist, but I think it's one of those like artist band named Soraya. And that's with the Downhalls. And that is going to be October 10th, which is actually our wedding anniversary, but we're like, of course we're gonna play a show on our wedding anniversary.
What else are we gonna do?
What else are we gonna do? And we're playing the last Blame It on Whitman show.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
Which is gonna be at a basement in Quincy. So DM for details. Ask a Punk, but the Humanities play. And it's gonna be super great, and Divorce Cake, and we had genuinely one of the most wonderful times of my life playing there a few months ago with Knockover City. It was so much fun, so I'm excited to go back.
Hell yeah.
I love
That's awesome.
I love a bar show.
Yes, and I think we're going to see rise in that too. But I want to thank you guys for taking the time to talk today. Everyone, make sure you go check out A Bad Idea USA show. There's awesome ones coming up, and keep your eyes peeled for their new album in 2027. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, and that's our show. I want to thank Sean and Courtney so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I want to thank everyone on the Struggling Artist team. You can find them all on Instagram. Chris Chavez is at 716 The Sound. Jeff is at JRB Image. Ryan is at 13th Floor _Ryan. And Dave is at Pinball _Punks. As for me, my name's Aria. I play in Coffin Salesman. You can find me at Coffin _Salesman. Or at coffinsalesman.net for the enterprising young mind. But for now, we're going to leave you off with a song from Bad Idea USA. This is Old Habits off their 2024 EP Home. And as a quick sidebar, if you have a tape deck, get this on tape because it's specially mastered for tape. So it sounds really great. Wishing you all a wonderful day.